Ladies and gentlemen, there's no better way to get up in the morning than to get up with Garret. Garret is a third-generation success-credentialed real estate entrepreneur who is here to give you tips, tricks, and share stories of success. So without any further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Garret Bedron.
What's up, Dougie?
How are you?
Great to be with you. Thanks for waking up early here, 10:30. That's good. That's a perfect get up with Garret start. I love that time. Don't book a meeting before 10:30. You know, nobody wants to have a meeting at 8 o'clock in the morning or 9 o'clock.
Yes, 10:30 is when you should start your day.
Perfect time. It's good to see you, man.
You too, brother.
How was your Super Bowl? We missed getting together and talking about the game in advance.
Yes.
Was it what you thought it would be?
I would say as a whole, the playoffs was a great year of playoffs.
Incredible.
A lot of overtimes, a lot of last second kicks. It was a good year in football.
Yeah, for sure. I think Giants and Jet fans locally here in the northern New Jersey area were thrilled how the end of the season came about, because once your team is out of it, the last thing you want to do, is have a crappy ending to the season. So having the Bills and the Chiefs and the Bengals and the Titans, all these teams are just incredible from the AFC. And then of course it's the Rams. It's the Rams all the way. They really went all in, built that super team, which you see more in basketball, because obviously football is very much a team sport. The linemen are so critical to the game. But to bring in obviously Odell Beckham, who was having a fabulous Super Bowl, scored a touchdown, was on his way to really have a great game, and then unfortunately got hurt. But to bring these players in, Von Miller, and I think they brought in Jalen Ramsey, who, by the way, got burnt on every play. I mean, he just, for a star, some of those cornerbacks, they just mouth off a little too much.
Yep.
He just got burnt. But, Chase was a great player, and forget the other receiver on the Bengals that had a good game. And look, I thought it was great. And, for most of the game, I felt like the Rams were going to do it. There was a short period of time where I thought the Bengals had it. Momentum had shifted. But then as you got deep into the kind of third quarter and early fourth quarter, you could see that Donald was just wearing them out, and the offensive line was not going to hold up for Burrow. And Aaron Donald makes 2 game-saving plays. The stop, I think the big stop was the 3rd and 2 or 3rd and 1, where he literally tackled the running back, and it was the backup running back. You didn't even have Mixon in there, which I don't get that.
Yep.
Sometimes the analytic guys go a little too far, where they say, well, that's your 3rd down back. Well, you know what? It's the Super Bowl on the line. Go with your gut. The guy that's got you, all year there.
It's our we need to win back.
Yes, exactly. So Donald makes that one-armed kind of clothesline tackle, and then of course the next play, he just was there within 2 seconds. I mean, it was too fast for anybody to.
The one thing that I was disappointed in that last drive right there is this is the last play of your season. This is the Super Bowl. It's the last play. It's 4th and 1, right?
Yes.
And he gets sacked, unfortunately, but he does get the ball out of his hands, and it does land at the foot. I don't even know who receiver or running back that was. Like, you need to be on the ground diving, even if you don't make the play. You need to look like you gave it your 100% all. Like it looked like it fell right at his feet.
Yeah, and actually, I have to rewatch it a few more times, but it looked like he didn't realize. Like, it didn't look like he was actively trying to catch the ball. Like, he was looking elsewhere. And now some people are going to argue, guys, it was 2 seconds. There's no way he could have gotten out to where he had to. But to your point, with the whole thing on the line, your head should be looking back at the quarterback, because you're the outlet guy. Like that was not the play to go to the running back.
Yeah, he kind of did
he's the oh shit, like last moment, break the glass kind of thing if there's a fire.
Yep.
And he didn't seem to act that way. And then I also saw that Jamar Chase looked like he was wide open, that Ramsey had fallen downfield, and that would have been a wide open touchdown to win the game.
Wow.
But again, you're kind of piecing a conspiracy theory altogether, because, Burrow only had a second to, to look at his shoelaces. I mean, it was crazy.
Yeah.
But it was a great NFL season. The NFL is really fortunate to finish up that way. And, just LA having the home game 2 years in a row. I mean, I really knew, I just felt like this could happen. And I actually bet months ago, a couple of dollars on the Rams winning the Super Bowl. That was a very small bet, didn't win anything significant, but it for the first time in my life, it all went right on the Super Bowl. I bet on the Rams to win, but the Bengals to cover with the 4 or 4.5, and then also the game to be on the under. I think you have the FanDuel receipt just to prove it.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was a small, I think I bet like a $20 on a parlay, and the parlays are fun because $20 can,
Nope, 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 nope,
nope.
no, no, no. Look at that. Don't look at
No,
that.
you had it. It was,
Oh, is the right one? I thought that was the Disney one. We'll get to that in a minute.
it
But
was both. Yeah. It was like Disney on the preview, but that one looks like
gotcha,
it's right there.
gotcha. There it is.
There it is. Yeah. So there's the Bengals getting 4.5, the Rams winning the game, and the under 48.5. So $20
Wow.
paid up $240.
That was like one. I didn't bet on winners or losers. I bet the prop bets.
Oh, those are fun.
Yeah, I bet like the little prop bets because I wanted to root for a good game. I wanted
Good.
like I didn't want to be like, rooting for one team to crush it. I wanted the game to go into overtime. And even if I thought the Rams were going to win, but even if you bet just the Rams, if you bet the Rams to win, it was 4 points. So that if you bet the Rams spread, you still would have lost because they only won by 2.
Right.
It was
Right.
-4.
Right.
Yeah.
So you want to bet the Rams to win, or you want to bet the Bengals
Yeah.
with the 4. Yes.
Yeah.
Had you bet the Rams to win by 4, you would have lost. That
Yes.
was a bad bet.
Yes.
Now, as far as prop bets go, Harper, my daughter's favorite bet, she won was the
Yeah.
blue Gatorade.
Nice.
But we didn't put any money on it, unfortunately.
Ah.
She did say it would be blue Gatorade put on the coach, which I thought was cute.
Nice.
Anyway, we had my in-laws over, and I want to show you. Can you bring up the pretzels? Of course, there's always great food at Super Bowl parties, and we had some great barbecue from Brothers Barbecue here in Ramsey. But also, check out these pretzels. I think these are awesome. They were like
Wow.
custom pretzels from Little Cake in Park Ridge. Shout out to them.
Nice.
These are like pepperoni, buffalo, sun-dried tomato, kind of baked into the pretzel. They were absolutely delicious.
I grew up with the owner.
You're
Little
kidding?
Cake. Yeah, Vanessa. So
Wow.
I grew up with her and her brother. Well, Austin was in my grade. She was like a year or 2 above us. But yes, I know Vanessa very well.
Well,
And she
maybe-
also made our wedding cake.
Well, maybe they'd like to be a sponsor of the show one day.
Absolutely.
All right, well, we'll reach out to them.
Yeah, their stuff is great. So
Yes.
is that like an everyday menu item or is that just a
No,
Super
I
Bowl
think
special?
they make them for special things. They don't have them
Nice.
all the time, but you chop them up in little pieces. They're phenomenal. And then the last thing about the Super Bowl for all you sneakerheads out there, what'd you guys think about Eminem's Jordans that he was rocking?
Pretty fire. Let's pull those
Yeah,
bad boys up.
Yeah, get me a pair of those
Yeah.
right now.
Are those for sale? Like,
I
what's
don't
the deal with
know,
those? Those are
but
pretty awesome.
I'd like to find them after I close my next big deal. Those I'm going to be looking for, Jessica. I'll tell you right now. My name is Slim Shady on the back. How cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
And the concert was awesome. I mean, I grew up in that era. I know I'm a couple years older than you, but all that 90s hip hop,
Yeah.
that was, I mean, we were dancing. My kids are looking at me like, who are you? What are you doing? And I feel like that's everybody who's around 40 years old was probably doing that too.
Yep. It's funny. I saw like a meme. It was like when you were a kid, you were like, why are they putting the Beatles? Why is it the Beach Boys? Why is it the Rolling Stones? Can it be? Oh wait, I'm old.
I'm the old, yeah, exactly.
I'm the old one now.
Yeah, so we're the oldies. But let me tell you, that's what I call an oldie but a goodie.
Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah, so it's good. So moving on, always like to give a good update of what's going on business wise. We're very fortunate. We're working on some new projects that I can talk about in maybe another month or 2. We are selling a project in North Carolina that I expect to close the first week of March. So after we do that, I'm going to kind of dive in and explain how that project went down and what kind of return that was to the investors, because we'll have the real numbers at that point. I'll tell you, it's a good one. It's definitely something that we're really excited about. A shopping center that we bought a few years ago, and the buyer has gone what's called non-refundable. So when you buy any type of house, of course, or property, investment property, you put down some type of deposit, could be $100,000 or $200,000 on a bigger deal. And usually they get 30 to 60 days to kind of look under the hood of the car, right? Make sure the leases are as you present them and there's no issues with the environmental or structure of the property. So once they pass that deadline, their deposit then becomes non-refundable. They can't get it back if they change their mind. So that's a critical junction, a critical part in this process of investment properties. And I'm happy to report we've now got past that checkbox, right? So it's highly, highly likely the buyer, will move forward, which is great. So that's exciting. And then of course I was over at the Hedges last week, and I don't know why, but they convinced me to go up on the roof. I mean, I actually got to climb up a very tall ladder.
Well, that's probably why you had to have a hard hat on, right?
Well, you got to always have your hard hat on, and you got to have your muddy boots because the place is muddy. Let me tell you, outside. So there's a picture from the roof all the way up. We have some other cute pictures you can kind of cycle in as we're talking here. But I wanted you to kind of see the ceilings. These units on the 4th floor are just incredible. Yeah, right there. So these have lofts, lofted ceilings, I should say. They do not have lofts. They have a lofted ceiling. So it's a 14-foot ceiling on the 4th floor. I think we've got maybe 12 or 13 of these throughout the project. And that's that crazy ladder I climbed up. I hope my wife is not watching. And we crawled out that little window. So you're going to get great natural light on the 4th floor. Actually, all the floors have huge windows. I think they're like, some of them are floor to ceiling. But on these, particularly, great light. And there's this kind of what they call a clear story window up there that will flood the living room. So we're really excited about the progress over there. I'll be back today with some consultants going through some of the amenity area. That's a good shot. Yeah, the sun kind of.
There's all your windows.
Yeah, that shows like about half of the building. That's kind of that's phase 1, and you can see they're big windows.
Oh yeah, there's like 6 foot, like a full person standing.
You got to measure yourself and see if you fit there. So we're excited about the project, and we also launched our webpage.
Nice.
I don't know if we had shown that before. I know we showed some of the pretty pictures before, but you could go to hedgesathawthorne.com, right? And you'll get to see some of the beautiful renderings of what this project will look like. If this is your first time tuning in, it's 118 luxury units in Hawthorne, New Jersey, with condo quality amenities, roof deck, wine tasting room, small fitness gym, co-working suites, and even dog wash and dog parks. We also have a Planet Fitness coming for all your health and fitness needs, and a self-storage building on site for your storage needs. So we're super excited. If you're interested, you go to hedgesathawthorne.com. We already have over 100 people on the wait list. So please put your information in, and you'll be contacted as we get closer to starting the rental and leasing process. And if it's not a good fit for you here in Hawthorne, we are working on other locations in New Jersey and in North Carolina where we're going to bring the Hedges brand. So that's kind of something cool. We really love this brand and are going to use this as like our family luxury lifestyle multifamily brand.
Nicely done.
Yeah.
Looking good
about that, Dougie.
Yeah. It's exciting stuff. Yeah. You're doing a great job. It looks amazing.
Working hard. And other than that, the other thing I just wanted to mention, I saw in the news today, because we're going to be going to Disney World later this year. Disney's going to continue to get into residential development. So I was curious your thoughts on that. Their first jump into this was they built this incredible project. It's called Golden Oak, and it's on the grounds of Disney World in Orlando, and that's where the Four Seasons Hotel is, and you can live there and have a home.
Wow.
And some of these homes have little hidden kind of Mickey things in the home, and it's a fantastic development. It was just awarded and really well received.
So it's not like overwhelming like the Star Wars hotel.
Not at all. It's none of that junk.
Gotcha.
But now they announced they're going to continue this in California, right?
Nice.
And I think it's smart. Anytime you have an incredible brand and you have a story to tell, to be able to tie it to other ways outside of where you do it. For example, when you go to Disney, they have this Bibbidi Bobbidi boutique thing, right? Where you can the kids can become princesses. My girls loved it. Well, that should be all over the country in my mind, right?
Yeah.
Little kids in Iowa want to do that, and they may never go to Disney World. So now Disney's kind of taking the approach saying, look, we can build these communities where people can live, and there may be some Disney stuff there, but you'll have a regular beautiful home, and someone can help take care of it. And I just think it's real smart way to extend the brand. What are your thoughts with that?
Absolutely. I mean, if you really want to go into like the 21st, 22nd century now, if you really want to get futuristic now with these living spaces, these apartments that could come with perks. Maybe you get a free weekend at a Disney resort. Maybe it comes with an NFT now that you get perks, like you get the home and you get the vacation, like whatever. Like there's a lot of things they can build into it. Maybe you get first access to a movie that comes out. Who knows? There's a lot of that's the world that we're starting to move towards with these NFTs and perks and community kind of stuff.
Absolutely, the added value makes sense, and I think it's smart. And look, it's hard. I know you and I were talking earlier. It's hard to buy a house today. I mean, it's a crazy market out there. I'm always talking to Broker Bergs, my buddy Ryan Bergman from Bergman County. Yeah. And he's just telling me it's tough for people to, people are competing. There's bidding wars. It's not easy. I don't know how young people buy a house when they're starting out, to be honest. It's very tough.
So I have a question for you, and I'll keep it short and sweet so we can get T in the stream here. It's very hard to buy a house. It's a seller's market, right? people are paying 30% more than on properties just because there's the demand, right? The supply and demand. How is this going to balance out? How is like our prices just going to stay up and like the price of milk is going to catch up and everything's just going to become inflated, or are these prices going to reach a certain point then come down? Like what's going to happen in the coming?
So you want to know if
time?
I have a crystal ball?
No, I don't. But like
I didn't go to Disney yet.
when markets increase,
Yeah.
like what we're seeing right now, supply and demand issue. So now people are like, there's lines out the door for open houses. Like people are coming in droves for an open house. There's not enough supply, right? There's a high demand. People are paying 20%, 30% more than the actual house is worth because there's nothing else to buy, right? So how does this, in situations like this, does that price of the house just stay there, and now that's what the house is cost, and like everything else gets inflated, the price of milk, the price of eggs, like how will these things go down?
Well, look, inflation definitely is here to stay, and we've had a high inflation.
Yes.
I mean, I think it's between 7 to 10%, which is
Mhm.
much higher than it's ever been.
Mhm.
It's going to calm down inflation on milk and gas and a lot of other things. Housing is going to change when interest rates change. So
Okay.
by the end of this year, there will be multiple interest rate hikes.
Mhm.
They've already announced that, and so you'll see that you're going to be able to get less house for your money because your interest payment is going to be higher.
Yeah.
Right. So you won't be able to stretch to the, let's say it's a $600,000 house.
Mhm.
That's now you're going to pay 700,000 because the interest is really cheap.
Mhm.
Harder to do that when the interest rate is up
Yes.
half a point or a point.
Mhm.
So that's when you're going to see the catalyst. Without that, I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But I think that's the catalyst, and it's coming this year. But this is why our family and our investors are really putting money into multifamily projects, because if you have a great job, you live in northern New Jersey, maybe you work in the city, and between the two of you, you're making over six figures, you can probably afford an expensive apartment and a nice lifestyle, but you may not have the down payment to buy the house, because the house should be 600,000, but it's 900,000. So it's funny. I think we should bring in our guest,
Absolutely.
Taya, because she is obviously working on a project right now, which is another way to kind of get around high housing prices
Mhm.
by finding something that you can manipulate and turn around and add value. So I want to welcome our friend Taya, and I'm going to screw up her last name, Pellissier. Let's see, hopefully I got that right. She's in the green room. Come on in. Can you hear us today?
Yes, I can hear you guys.
There she is. Good morning. Thanks
You
for
said
joining.
my last name perfectly.
Oh, perfect. All right. I didn't want to screw that up. So Taya's family is an old friend of mine. Her dad was, is an incredible fitness trainer and had worked with me through a tough time when I had a big Achilles injury back in 2013. I was climbing Mount Everest, and
Wow.
that's not true. But I won't tell you how it happened. But Juan got me through a tough time, and he had reached out to me and said that his daughter was working on some great projects and some things in real estate. And I said, I want to hear all about it. Anytime there's a young woman who is looking to become an entrepreneur in the real estate business is exciting to me, and anything I can do to help. So Taya, tell us a little bit about your background. I know you also are into fitness training. Is that true? Tell us about that.
Yes, so I am a personal trainer by trade. My background is actually, it's funny because I went to school for finance because I've always kind of had a passion for things, business, investing, entrepreneurial, like all that stuff has always kind of fascinated me. But when I started my own personal fitness journey during my studies of finance, things kind of shifted a little bit, and I realized that that was something that I really wanted to focus on at the time. So my entire trajectory changed, and I went into training, and I've been doing that for the last couple of years. But I realized that moving out of the traditional like gym setting and being able to do it privately has allowed me a lot of flexibility with my time. So I'm actually able to pursue a couple of other things at the same time, which is cool because this is kind of the reason now I'm able to get into real estate and the investing projects.
That's great. That's great. So you'll train customers at their home or at a gym that you have some type of relationship with, or an agreement or
Yeah, so
so.
I train them. Most of them are in home, and a lot of them, some of them have apartment gyms as well, which is convenient. So we still get the equipment,
Yep,
outdoors too. When it's nice out, that's the best. I love the
of course.
summer clients because we can go to parks.
Absolutely. What about virtual? Do you ever do the virtual trainings too?
Yes, the virtual. So it's they're not. I don't do virtual sessions. It's more of like a virtual coaching, kind of like a subscription. So the programming and all of that stuff I do. I find the virtual sessions to be personally, I'm just not a huge fan because I'm not there to really like correct, and it's not efficient
Gotcha.
in my.
Of course.
So
Absolutely. Absolutely. Cool. So what got you into real estate? What was the catalyst? I mean, obviously you talked about the idea of kind of freedom of your time versus being locked down to a desk at 9 to 5. You've got a little bit of that flexibility. But was there something that, you read or maybe saw a podcast? I don't know if you ever follow like Bigger Pockets or of course Get Up with Garrett.
mhm.
Or, was it something that kind of someone mentioned to you, oh, you should take this course or take this class? What got you the real estate bug?
So a couple of things actually, but to start, when I did first get my training certification and I was starting to build that business, I was also working simultaneously for a real estate group at EXP Realty, and I was in the admin side of things. So I got to really see, I knew I didn't want to do sales. I knew I liked being in that like administrative kind of like talking to people, the paperwork, like that's kind of the stuff I liked doing. But I got to work with a lot of investors, specifically the broker that I was working for. Had me working directly with a lot of his investors on flips like Airbnb management, all of that fun stuff. So I realized in that couple of months that I was working there, I would call it more of an internship because once my training
Sure.
picked up, I ended up leaving. Um, but it was definitely during that few months where I was like, I want to be on the other side of things. I want to be the investor that's, but I knew I didn't have the funds. So I was like, maybe training will fund that dream. And I kind of let that dream go for a couple of years. Well, I didn't let it go, but I took a pause on it for a couple of years
It
to
was
pursue the
always there. It
training.
was like simmering on the stove. You just lowered the
On
heat a little
low.
bit.
Yeah,
Yes,
exactly.
on low.
Um, and then actually I followed him for a couple years too. You might know him, Jake Light. He's really huge in like the house flipping business, and so he
Okay.
offers a mentorship program. So I followed him for a while, but I saw one post specifically, and it was like late at night, like probably should have been sleeping, and it like sparked something in me immediately, and I was like, you know what, like I've saved up money for this, like I'm gonna invest. Like it was expensive for me, like at this point in my life, but I was like, hopefully the return is worth it. So I've been in that course for the last 2 months, and I mean, it has proven worth it already.
So it's called the Jake Light course or Jake White. Sorry,
Jake,
I couldn't hear.
it's called the Flip Secrets,
Flip Secrets.
and
Okay.
Jake Light
Got
is, yeah, he's.
Gotcha. And what type of investment is this? Is it, $3,000 or $5,000 or
These these
ballpark?
these become
I have
expensive.
no idea.
Yeah, so please. I mean, if you want to share, but these do become expensive, and if it is worth it, please tell the viewers because it's hard to distinguish which one you should do.
Yeah.
Yeah. So this was $18,000.
Oh my goodness.
See?
Wow.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
in the wrong
Yeah.
business then. Why didn't you tell me about
I
this earlier?
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
18.
So these are expensive, and so please explain, and if it is something worth doing, because like I said, you don't know what you're getting before you sign up for
Well,
something like this.
here's the exciting thing. She can tell you about her experience so far
Yeah.
with this, and then we're going to check back with her. She's going to tell us about a project she's working on right now,
Mm-hmm.
and then in a few months we're going to check back and see what the results are.
Mm-hmm.
Because just like her dad would do to me and say,
Yeah.
it's not just about
Mhm.
the hard work. We got to have the results too.
Yes.
So we're going to know if this pays off. It may pay off in one deal, which would be an incredible return on the
Yes.
That's the
investment.
goal.
But is that the goal?
Yeah.
Wow. So
The next
you
one will
see
be profit.
exactly. Okay, so is this course that you did, and he's not a sponsor of the show. I never even heard of this
Mhm.
program, but is this something that you could do virtually over a 6-month period, or are you going somewhere? Just tell us a little bit about it. I'm not familiar with it, and the viewers may
Yeah.
enjoy that.
So really, I mean, you kind of have the flexibility to complete it as quick or as slowly as you want. He does limit you a little bit, so you get like a drip campaign for like the modules. Like I think it takes, if you do it like on his time, I think it takes about a month or two or a month and a half. I flew through it. I was very punctual every time a module came out. I did my homework and all that. I signed up for this specifically. I invested in it less for the actual knowledge, but more for the accountability. I I don't struggle with accountability, but you know, going out and doing, like, I'll study all day long, but then putting things into action, I'm a little bit hesitant about. So the fact that I had like the mentor there telling me just go do it, you know, stop being a perfectionist, like that really helped me kind of step out of my comfort zone. And you know, the knowledge is there too. He's incredibly experienced in this specific field. You know, just the flipping and the rehabbing, the costs of everything, you know, working with the contractors, every detail he explains. It's very thorough. So, you know, not that I have this project, you know, underway. It hasn't we're not all the way to the end yet, but I can say just now that it's completely worth it. I mean, you know, the fact that I'm
Incredible.
able to say that I'm in this position after, you know, taking it for a month and a half is exciting. So
Yeah, I mean, most people probably, take 6 months to get through something like this, I would think. Well, I guess it depends on what else you're doing, right? If you have a full-time job
yeah.
and you're a mom and this and that, it could take a year, right? It could take a lot longer. And it's not, some of these classes are done where there's not like a timeline where you have to
Mhm.
finish in a day or a week or a
Yeah.
month and it expires. It's meant for people that have flexible schedules. So, okay, so this class gives you, or this course, I should say, gives you all the basic fundamentals for kind of finding a property, negotiating it with a realtor, closing a property, doing a rehab, staying on top of the contractor, and then ultimately selling the property or refinancing the property. I guess is the other way you could do it. So tell us what did you find without giving away any big secrets, because I know not everything is final. I mean, we're not going to disclose the address or show a photo of the exterior. But tell us about this first deal that you have found so quickly and what you're going to do about it and what you're excited about it.
Yeah, so this deal actually came directly from my realtor because I had been looking at it. You guys were talking about it earlier with it being a bidding war out there because I had a couple properties that I was looking at, you know, that were listed at 150 and I thought it was like an incredible deal. And my realtor was like, oh no, that's definitely going to sell for 300 or 400. And I was just like, all right, scratch that.
Forget it.
But this one, yeah, this one came specific
Oop,
um,
oop.
from, I want to say it was a something of the source. It was an off market deal. And it was, you know, heavily reduced as compared to the property price wise was, you know, very low considered if you consider the properties that were in the area. And at first glance, I was a little nervous. I know you might show a picture of the inside. It looked a
Yeah,
little bit out.
let's take a look. This looks like my daughter's bedroom every day, basically. What?
Let me pull this up. If
Hold
I
on.
think I know what you're talking about, this
Oh
one.
yeah, Dougie, bring it to me. Let's see. Yeah, there we go. We got
Yeah.
we got some hoarding pictures, right? We got
Oh
some
yeah.
collections, I would
Yeah, they're a
say.
collector. They're
They're
a
they're they're
collector.
they're, they're not hoarders. They're
Yes.
collectors of Pokemon and sneakers and Bart Simpson and see, when you're a
Uh,
digital collector, guys, it's
Yeah.
much easier. You put all
Yeah.
that shit in your wallet. You don't have to worry about
Absolutely.
making a mess.
Yes.
But yeah, okay. So go ahead. I would be a little nervous too.
Yeah, so
Rightfully so.
I was a little nervous, and then as part of the course, actually, you get access to, you know, the flip team. So there's, you know, hundreds of members in there, and I kind of sent this in, and I was like, "This is my first flip. I'm a little bit nervous," and I did definitely get some hesitation from some of the other members that were like, "Oh, you know, it's your first flip. Like, you probably don't want to go this far. Rehab's going to cost so much. Prices are through the roof. Whatever." And it made me nervous, but I definitely am one to do my own due diligence. So I was talking to, you know, my realtor. I was talking to other realtors. You know, I talked to you too. I reaching out to basically anybody and everybody that I could to figure out if this deal was actually a good idea, if it was realistic, really. And
Right.
being that I really just wanted to get the experience. I mean, we're obviously all here to make money, but this one specifically is for experience. So I was willing to, you know, let the numbers be a little bit lower than where I'd ideally want them, for the sake of being able to, you know, get this in my portfolio. And it did turn out that I was able to get a contractor in there and get a quote for everything that the priorities within budget.
Yes. Right. You may not be
Yeah,
able to do everything, right? Sometimes you have to prioritize and what are the things, like, you definitely want to consult with your broker. What are the things that sells a house, right? Like the kitchen.
exactly.
For me, the kitchen sells a house. Certainly like we just upgraded the master closets in the hedges. putting some dollars in there because we feel like, a woman walks into the primary bedroom now and they see that closet, they want to see a beautiful built out closet that could sell a house or an apartment, just the closet
Yeah.
or the bathroom, right? But there's certain things that you don't necessarily need the most expensive floors, right? A lot of people are doing kind of a wood look with a vinyl
The
tile
laminate.
or laminate. Exactly. So there's different tricks and things you can do and put your money in the area where it gets it over the finish line. So you got a really good deal on the house. And it's in Irvington. I don't know that much about Irvington. Is this an area where there's some schools nearby or some shopping? I mean, what was it about this site that was better than some other parts of town or other towns nearby that jumped out at you?
Actually, this property is actually on a block that's super close to, it's kind of cornered by 3 different areas. So it's cornered by Maplewood, Hillside, and Union. And the 3 of those Maplewood and Hillside specifically are like very demanded areas. There's a lot of people moving in currently in the last like year, and the house values are going up like significantly in those areas. And we're right next door. Not to mention that Maplewood is they have it's a bit of a higher income neighborhood than Irvington is specifically. But the school system is great and there's a bunch of shopping like within 5 minutes of the property that I have in Irvington. So
Right.
it brings up the value of, even though the other side of Irvington maybe, not the best, but this specific area is right. We're close to major highways, but you don't get the noise, close to major shopping centers. We're near like some really great schools. So, I mean, in terms of location, a biased opinion, I think it's perfect.
That's great. So Dougie, this is what I love
Yeah.
that Taya's done here is that while somebody else may hear the word Irvington and say, well, I don't know enough about that market.
Mhm.
Maybe I heard about some, crime or I heard something on the news, right?
Mhm.
But what she did was she drilled down and said, okay, that may be true in one area, right? But if we drill down and we see what's the infrastructure, right? Well, we're near the highways, but well, that could be noisy. No, this one's not. Based on the landscaping, it's not noisy. And happens to have good school system nearby. And she's trading off of another town's shopping area, Maplewood, right next
Mhm.
door, which is definitely a higher end area. So what happens? Someone that maybe can't afford Maplewood who wants Maplewood says, you know what? I'm going to go to Irvington. It's 2 miles away. Not so different than somebody who can't afford Ridgewood maybe wants to go to Hawthorne,
Mhm.
right? These things work. And then you trade off of the surrounding areas, and you don't just focus on the town. You put together how it's all connected, and that becomes kind of your trade area. So kudos to you, Taya, for really digging in further and being willing to kind of like not hear the noise of one certain town name. I mean, years ago there were parts of Newark or Hackensack that people would not move into. And
Mhm.
now
Mhm.
there's, hundreds of millions of dollars going into both of those cities. And I'm sure there's certain areas where maybe you wouldn't want to live, but there's other areas where you would love to live.
Yeah.
Right. So you can't just take this kind of like, blanket approach. A lot of people say life is very black and white, but it's really gray area is really where the magic comes. So good for you for kind of figuring that out. That's
Thank
exciting.
you.
And you said my 2 favorite words of all time, which are off market, right? If
Yes.
Charlie and Spencer are listening, they know that anytime I hear the word off market, that I'm going to pick up the phone. We're going to talk
Mhm.
because off market is a real key to getting investors excited. Nobody has time and energy for the bidding wars, unless you absolutely have to have a house tomorrow.
Mhm.
If you're not, and you're an astute investor and you have time, you want to try to buy off market where you can make a deal with the seller and you don't get tied up in this bidding war. And that surety of close is really what comes in. So it's important that you understand that, Taylor, early in your adventure as well. So you've gotten the quotes from the contractors and you feel confident that the rehab price leaves you enough margin here to walk away with a profit that makes it worth your time and the risk.
Yes, absolutely. Granted, everything goes smoothly, but
Right. Well, you've got to budget.
definitely.
You got to budget a contingency, right? So if
Mhm.
I'm just making this up, but if the contractor says it's going to be $50,000, you should definitely add on. I would say 10 to 15, probably
10, yeah.
15% since it's your first one.
Mhm.
Really build that buffer, and then obviously you've got some financing sources and other sources, and you just got to make sure all that's lined up. And I'm really looking forward. I mean, will you check in with us and kind of share through the process? I'd love to share with the viewers how you're doing
Yes,
on your
absolutely.
first flip and where this leads to. I mean, I just think it's such a cool thing. I mean, how old are you? 20, young 20s,
22.
right? 22 years
22,
old,
yep.
Dougie.
Wow.
At 22, I was in California and was not doing this. And I'm just blown away that she's got the maturity, and the ability to really jump in and focus. Obviously, the financial background, but I think that personal training background kind of helped her connect, with people one-on-one. She knows how to talk to investors, and she worked at a company as an admin or intern, and got a kind of a sense of what you could do. And then look, I always talk about you have to work for free a little bit, right? And you mentioned you're not trying to make a killing on this first deal. I always say go for singles and doubles, right? The home runs will come over time. Singles and doubles turn into runs. I promise you. Really focus on that. And if you're young and you're starting out, take an internship like Taya did. Be an admin. Don't be afraid to do all that bottom kind of grinding work, because what happens often is you get to see a lot of different areas of an industry and a business. I was an intern with the Pittsburgh Pirates, and I got to see marketing. I got to see operations in the locker room. I got to see the hotel kind of management side of spring training. I got to see how they interviewed people for throwing out the first pitch and singing the national anthem. So ultimately, you may find something you really like or something you really don't like. Knowing what you don't like is also just as important as knowing what you like. So the fact that Taya got a little taste of it and said, hey, I want to be on the other side and be an investor, that motivated her, to start this course, right? That's a ton of money to put out there, $18,000 to buy into something like this. Just because she's got a lot riding on this. And, we're here for you. Anytime you have a question, just text me, shoot me an email. You want to talk, you want me to review anything for you, happy to do that. And I just think it'd be a wonderful opportunity for you to share this with the audience. And we're all super proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, I would love to share it.
Absolutely. All right. Now, I have like 4 little questions for you. I call this my lightning round. All right.
Lightning round with only 4 questions.
Yeah, just 4 questions. I cut one out that I felt was getting tough for everybody.
All right.
Take these fun. Just yell out the first thing that comes in your head. It's kind of like something like that. Okay. I'm gonna make them nice. Can I get the countdown clock?
You got it.
All right. Do you have a book that you recommend? Maybe you read a business book or real estate book when you got into this new venture.
Actually, this is a little bit different, but Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. I'm very into that spiritual mindset. Like that helps me a lot in my business practice.
Think Like a Monk. I like that. Okay. First concert and best concert.
Ooh, first concert was Keith Urban, and best concert was Keith Urban.
Yep,
I
that
love
works.
country.
I don't know how you feel about travel to outer space, but if you were comfortable going, who would you place your money with to take you? Elon Musk, Richard Branson, or Jeff Bezos?
I'm gonna go with Elon Musk. I feel like that's
Okay.
a safe bet.
They all sound good.
I agree.
And last question, what's a professional or personal goal that I can remind you of a year from now?
Ooh, to have my first rent. I'm doing the flipping, but I really want to have a rental property. That's the
Yes.
goal, is to have passive income. We talked about this. So
That's it.
there we go.
Passive
Passive
income.
income streams. Yeah.
The golden goose.
Mhm.
Golden goose is passive income.
Nice.
All right, good. You survived. You survived the lightning round. Wasn't that hard? See?
No.
We're not so scary.
Yeah, that's good.
Cool. All right. So if somebody wants to connect with you, Taya, we can put up your email address, right, Doug? We have that?
Yes, right there. Here you go.
Yes.
There it is. So shoot her an email if you have an opportunity in New Jersey, right? Maybe a house flip, or maybe you're interested in helping finance her, or be an investor, or just talk a little shop, right? Talk a little biz.
Yeah,
You're always
absolutely.
down to network. I know that's so important. Please feel free to reach out to her. And appreciate you joining us today on the Get Up with Garret show. We'll check in with you soon. Okay. Good luck with everything.
Awesome. Thanks so much for having me.
All right. We'll talk to you later. Say hi to your dad.
I timed that pretty poorly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't worry
But catch you later, too.
All right. Cool beans. So that's what we got for you. I hope you enjoyed our show today. We'll be back in a couple weeks. We got a couple cool guests coming up soon.
Nice.
Some tenants of mine have signed on, and some
Awesome.
YPO friends. Going to learn about some more cool businesses in the next few weeks, and then
Mhm.
hopefully, knock on wood, next show, if we do it in 2 weeks, I should be able to talk about this big deal that we're closing, which would be a shopping center in North Carolina that will kind of gone from start to finish.
Nice.
We bought it, we added value, we raised investors, obviously. By the way, my wife has a drinking game. Every time I say investors, she's got a drink.
Wow.
Yeah.
There's already a drinking game for the Get Up with Garrett
There you
show.
go.
We
There you
made
go.
it in the world.
We made it. We know we're going. Well, she's been saying that for years.
Investor.
there you go.
Investor.
It's too early, Doug. So we got some exciting things that we'll be able to share, I think, over the next probably 30 to 60 days.
Nice.
And like always, any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to shoot us an email. We have our own email address here. It's get up. Nope.
Oh,
not
yo,
that
whoa,
one.
whoa, whoa,
Don't-
whoa.
don't-
Hey, yo, whoa.
Don't
wait.
write me at that one.
Yeah,
I can barely check.
let's take that one off the list.
Too
There
many
you go.
emails. Too
There
many.
we go.
Get up
There
with
we go.
Garret@gmail.com. That is the email address. Get up with Garret, and follow us on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook.
Yeah.
Just send us a note, and we're happy to answer your questions live on the future shows as well. If you chime in live, we will answer your questions. And hope
Nice.
everyone has a incredible day. And don't forget, the more you give, the more you get.
Ooh, that's a great way to end it. Oh, whoa, hey, oh, hey, oh, whoa. Great show. Great show.